Hey everyone, hope you are safe at home in quarantine and I hope you have been washing your hands. Today's devotion is taken from Joshua chapter 1 and we're reading from verses 1 to 9, and today we will be looking at addressing the topic of fear. So hope you enjoy this short devotion. So we read, after the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord said to Joshua, son of Nun, Moses' aide, Moses, my servant, is dead. Now then, you and all these people get ready to cross the Jordan River into the land I am about to give to the Israelites. I will give you every place where you set your foot, as I promised Moses. Your territory will extend from the desert to Lebanon, and from the great river, the Euphrates, all the Hittite country to the great sea on the west. No one will be able to stand up against you all the days of your life. As I was with Moses, so I will be with you. I will never leave you nor forsake you. Be strong and courageous, because you will lead these people to inherit the land I swore to their forefathers to give them. Be strong and very courageous. Be careful to obey all the law my servant Moses gave you. Do not turn to it from the right or to the left, that you may be successful wherever you go. Do not let this book of law depart from your mouth. Meditate on it day and night, so that you may be careful to do everything written in it. Then you will be prosperous and successful. Have I not commanded you, be strong and courageous? Do not be terrified. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Right. So for me, what stood out as I was reading these verses from this chapter is the fact that we only made it from verse 1 to verse 9, and 3 times God reminded Joshua to be courageous, to be strong, to be courageous. In verse 6, be strong and courageous. Verse 7, be strong and very courageous. And then again in verse 9, to be strong and courageous. So that's a bit about the story of Joshua. Joshua would have been the leader to follow on after Moses, and as we know the story of Moses, God would have used Moses to do many great things. Moses led the Israelites, a lot of people, etc., etc. So for Joshua now stepping in to this great leadership role, if I were Joshua, I assume that he would have felt maybe inadequate, thinking to himself, oh goodness, these people were so faithful to Moses, and Moses did all these great things through God. I don't know if these people are going to respect me. I don't know if I'm going to have the same power that Moses did, yada yada yada. And you could really understand all the fears, and I guess to some extent rationalize the fears that Joshua would have been experiencing at that time, stepping in, following on from Moses. But God comes in and reminds Joshua specifically that to not give in to this fear, because the same way that he was with Moses is the same way that he will be with Joshua. And I want to ask you, how many of us, well, once you've been alive, you have been afraid of something, whether you get chased by a dog, whether you step into a new situation at work, a new position, how many of us have been afraid and have chosen to give in to the response of fear instead of faith? You know, as humans, fear is going to be a natural response, but it's really up to us if we choose to A, give in to the role of fear and the lies of the enemy, or B, continue to believe that God will do for us what he has done before. And it's so important that when God comes through for us, that we write down these things, so that the next time we encounter an experience where we are afraid, we can look back and say, you know what, I remember when there was a situation XYZ that I did not think I would be able to make it out of, but look, here I am today, standing and alive by the grace of God. I know, really just cementing that in our hearts, in our minds, in our souls, the goodness of God. And how I referenced that in this passage was the fact that God said to Joshua, the same way that I was with Moses is the same way that I would be with you. And obviously Joshua and Moses would have been alive at the same time. So Joshua would have seen firsthand the things that God would have done for Moses. So in saying that, then Joshua was able to say, you know what, God has really been faithful to Moses, and I can look forward to how God will be with me as I go forward to lead these people. And even further in Joshua, I can't remember the exact chapter, when they crossed the Jordan River, Joshua asked the people to actually get stones so that they can set down as reminders, so that every generation that comes forward would ask, well, what's the reason that these stones are here? They would be able to tell the stories of the miracles that the miracle that God would have done through Joshua in crossing the Jordan River. Right, so my challenge to you is today, sometime this week, just take some time during your quiet time to sit down and think about all the things that God has brought you through. And not just think about it, but I want you to get a journal, a book, a paper, something, and write it down. And just begin to write out all the things that God has brought you through. And just keep going and keep going and keep going until you can't go anymore. And I want you to hold that and store it in a safe place, so that the next time you encounter something that you think may be challenging, something that you think you can't overcome, that you can just go back to that paper and be like, you know what? January 1st, 2020, God did XYZ for me, and just continue to build up your faith in God and His abilities. The second thing I want to point out to you is that the Bible reminds us to be careful to obey the law my servant Moses gave you. Do not turn to it from the right or to the left. Now, along with the fear response is irrationality. And sometimes when you are afraid, you do things that you otherwise would not have done. Isn't it true? So I want to remind you to not live in fear, to not give in to the fear response. But just take the time when fear comes to you. Say, how am I going to respond to this situation? Let me not just go off on an irrational thing, doing what I think is best. Because we can't see the future, we are human, but God has already seen everything that will ever happen to you. So there is no surprise for God about anything whatsoever. So, we can trust that God knows how it will work out. But sometimes when we're so nearsighted, we can't see into the future, we're human. But I think sometimes the fact that we cannot predict the future makes us really anxious to just go off and do our own thing. But I want to challenge you to, in the moments of fear, to still live according to the Word of God, to not stray from it to the left or the right, but continue as you would on any other day. Continue to put your trust in God. Continue to put your faith in God. Continue to listen to His Word and trust and believe that regardless of how the circumstances look now, that God is faithful and He is able to do exceedingly and abundantly above all that we can ask or imagine. So He is able to help us overcome fear. So that is the end of the devotion for today. Just remember to choose faith over fear every time. And I hope you guys continue to stay safe.